In terms of the NA region chat, I don't think it helps that it seems like the NA staff is so heavily biased. When you look at other regions, the casters and whatnot, they don't really care. They think it's all, they're just there to have a good time. But something I do think is that the staff all seem very heavily biased to one side or the other. And I'm including those who are biased towards BTK. There shouldn't be bias at all, but there very much clearly is bias. Regardless of what people say, and I do think what Zane said was unnecessary, and that could be an explanation for bias, but there's bias for different reasons besides that one. The whole casters are biased to OP. It seemed like literally everyone was biased to OP. Whether it's because it's Zane's fault or because OP has more well-known members, either or. It's fine to be a fan and be biased, but otherwise it's like very interesting in that regard. Like, you could watch chat the finals again, and regardless for BTK or OP, you could watch a caster talk and how they talk about a team, and you're like, yeah, this guy definitely wants this person to win. Like, you could just tell, like, right fucking away. And I think that's just like kind of unprofessional in a way. You watch Indo or PH, it's like they're hype in general. If I'm fucking watch partying, yeah, I can have bias. I'll have bias towards BTK. But if I was up there, it's a different story. They're hella biased to interview BTK and Onyx. Well, that's a region matter. That's a region matter. That's completely different. That makes 100% sense. You're gonna compare the biggest, most popular region compared to like one of the smallest. It's like, it's in their best interest to do that kind of thing. Chicken thinks BTK is the underdog around NA. I'm not insinuating anything. I'm saying it's just very, you know, take it however you want. I don't want to say anything. I'll just speak my mind. Take it however you want. And you could argue, and this is a valid argument, you could argue because OP, since they've been winning so much throughout the whole tournament, that they're kind of seen as like the obvious winner. And that is a fair argument. That's definitely a very fair argument. But to a certain extent, that argument works. And then you realize it's a bit more than that. It is a fair argument though, I will admit. There's not much I can say about that, except I could dispute that, but I have to reveal private details, which I'm not going to, obviously. That would dissuade that reasoning, but that is a valid argument. Biased casters is fine. Biased casters is fine under the logic where it's the winners, you know? They're the ones, the undefeated team. That's why I said it makes complete sense in that regard. Being biased in that favor, makes 100% sense. But there's a very fine line. Not really, it's actually, you can tell really obviously the difference between voting for the most likely winners and voting for a team because you like them more than the other one. There's a very big difference between those two. And I'm saying you can decide for yourself on that difference. I'm not saying I'm not pointing out any names, nor saying myself who is qualifying under that. And I'm saying you can find out for yourself. That is not something you can just say, oh, I'm hurting all their reputation. I'm saying my opinion, and you can form your own. That is how it works on the internet.